These are my 5 top exercises to keep you fit, focused, and mobile when you find yourself quarantined in a small space and need to move. So my first exercise is the hip roll into glute bridge. This is a great exercise for spine mobility, abdominal control, and it's good for strengthening those hamstrings and glutes. I'm going to give you 5 modifications of each exercise. Now you can either perform all of these on day 1 if you feel strong enough, or you can add a modification each day. Now to start with, I want you to do 5 hip rolls because this is really going to open up the spine, bring awareness to the body, and also get those hamstrings and glutes nice and active. So you're going to start on your back, feet are flat, hip bone distance apart. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to start to roll the pubic bone up towards the rib cage, peeling the spine vertebrae by vertebrae off the mat until you reach that glute bridge. And then here at the top, you're going to take a deep breath in, and then exhale, you're going to roll down through the spine, one bone at a time. So you're going to perform 5 of these every single day because, like I said, it's good for just warming up the spine. And then modification number 1, you're going to do 10 glute bridges. So you're going to set the core, set the glutes, set the hamstring, and you're going to lift the hips up 10 times. So you'll really start to feel those hamstrings and glutes switch on nicely. Then at the top, you're going to hold it, and you're going to perform 10 hip pulses. So building the endurance in the glutes and the hamstrings. Then from here, you're going to press the knees wide for 10, out. So it's going to really activate those adductors and also strengthen the glutes further. So that's your modification number 1. Modification number 2, lift the hips straight up into your glute bridge, and you're going to perform heel lifts. So you're going to lift one heel off and then switch to the other side. And you'll notice one side has to start working harder than the other. And you're going to perform 10 of these total. Take a rest, and you'll do another set of 10 for 3 sets. Modification number 3, lift the hips up, and you're going to lift one leg up to tabletop and then lower down. Now here, you're really looking for that abdominal control, that pelvic stability. So your hips are not dropping one side, then the other. You're keeping them in line. So you'll perform 10 of these, and then also 3 sets. Then finally, modification number 4, you keep one hip lifted, or one leg lifted. And then you're gonna lower and lift the hips here, 10 on each leg. And you'll really, really notice that isolation of the burn on one side. 3 sets of those. Then finally, modification number 5, you put all of them together. So hip lifts for 10, pulses for 10, knee presses for 10, heel lifts for 10, leg lifts for 10, and then single leg glute bridges for 10. So exercise number 2 is the spine twist. This is also such a good spine mobility exercise. It helps with relieving any back tension as it lengthens the muscles in the back of the body. And it also builds abdominal strength and especially oblique strength as the knees will be dropping off side to side. So modification number 1, your feet are going to stay flat on the ground. The arms come out to a T position. From here, you're going to drop the knees off to one side as your head looks in the opposite direction. Deep breath in here, breathe into that stretch, and then exhale, bring it back to center. And then we go for the other side. And you're going to perform 10 total, so that's 5 each side. You should feel a really nice stretch down one side of the back, and then also you should start to become aware of those obliques. Here, modification number 2, we're going to bring the legs up into a tabletop position. So already you'll start to feel those abdominals working harder. Arms out to the side, shoulders are relaxed. We're going to take the legs down to one side with full abdominal control here, so not just dropping. Breathe into the stretch. Try and keep the chest nice and open. You should get a good stretch into the front of the chest as well. And then exhale, you'll really notice the opposite oblique has to work to bring you back. Then go over to the other side. That feels really good actually. And then lift all the way back to center. So that's modification number 2. You'll perform 5 each side of that. Then, if you feel like you have the strength and you'd like to take it further, you take the legs down to one side, and where you feel like you can hold that position, you're gonna reach the top leg away, squeezing the thighs together, lift up through center and back to tabletop. You'll notice as you do this, the legs become heavier. That's because you're reaching one leg further away from the body, and you have to really work into that opposite oblique to bring you back up to center. Finally, modification number 4, double leg reach. So make sure you've mastered 1, 2, and 3 first before you go on to double leg. So taking the legs off to one side, you reach the legs away. You'll notice you really have to fire up that opposite oblique. Lift the legs up through center and then replace them back to tabletop. And then over to the other side, extend the legs nice and long, keep the shoulders down, and then exhale, bring it back up. And then day number 5, or modification number 5, you're gonna put all of them together. So you'll perform 5 each side, legs in tabletop, single leg reach, double leg reach, and then you should really feel that core nice and warm. So exercise 3 is the roll down and roll up. As you might have noticed, there's a lot of spine mobility in the exercises I've chosen, basically because we spend too much time being forward, hunched over. Maybe you've sat on a long flight, or you've been sitting in quarantine a bit too much. So here, we're gonna sit up really nice and tall to begin with, modification 1. Your feet are gonna be flat, and we're gonna start with a half roll back. So I want you sitting up nice and tall on those sit bones. You're gonna take a deep breath in, relax the shoulders, reach the arms forward. Now here, we're gonna start to roll back off those sit bones, scooping those abdominals in and up. You will come back into a half roll position. This is great for full, deep abdominal control and awareness and strengthening at the same time. Breathe in here, and then exhale. You're gonna round forward and roll up, re-step. You're gonna perform this 5 times. So again, roll back, scoop those abdominals in, and you should be getting a really nice stretch in the lower back as well here. Make sure you keep the chest open, and then roll all the way up. Now, once you've mastered the half roll back, then you can go all the way down and all the way up. So here, relax the shoulders, deep breath in, roll off the sit bones, start melting back through the spine. Make sure you have control all the way down, and you feel every single section of the spine melt into the mat. Here, take a deep breath in at the bottom, and then you're gonna start by nodding the chin to the chest. Start to lift up through the top of the head, abs are in, round forward, flex forward, roll all the way back up. And you can perform 5 of those. Now, if you've mastered that, then modification number 3, we're gonna add a single leg lift. So here, go into your half roll back, feel that nice stretch in the lower back. You're trying to make a C shape with your spine. You bring one leg up to tabletop. Now you hold it in tabletop, find stability as you roll down through the spine. Here, make sure that those shoulders do stay relaxed. And then from here, nod the chin, round the spine, flex up, round up, lift up and lengthen. And then you'll perform 5 of those each leg. Now, if you've mastered 1, 2, and 3, you know you can move on to number 4, which is a double leg lift. So half roll back, find that C shape, that C curve, scoop those abs in, float one leg up into tabletop, followed by the other. Now make sure you've not changed the position of your spine. Make sure you're still in that nice scoop and rounded shape of the lower back. From here, stabilize the legs as you start to roll all the way down. Full abdominal control. Woo! It's a good little burner, this one. And here, nod the chin, round the spine. Try and stabilize the legs as you roll up, round up, lift up, and lengthen. So then, if you've mastered 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can put them all together and you can add repetitions, you can go slower because that will increase the strength and endurance of your abdominals. So exercise number 4 is your back extension. It's really important that you do back strengthening exercises because we spend too much of our day being really rounded and forward and we make the muscles in the back weak by doing this. So by doing a back extension, we're going to open up the chest, we're going to improve the posture, and also we're going to strengthen all the muscles in the back. So modification number 1, you're going to start face down with the hands up by the shoulders. The forearms are going to stay down. You're going to roll the shoulders back and down, and you're going to start to press into the forearms, lengthening through the top of the head. Shoulders should be down and back, spine should be long, abdominals should be active, and then you're going to lower down. You're going to perform 5 sets of these, or 5 repetitions. Then, if you feel comfortable, you're going to take the hands a little bit further underneath you, so right underneath the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down, and you're going to lift and lengthen through the top of the head, pressing into the arms. You'll come into that full swan. Abdominals are lifted, shoulders are drawn down and back, and you're lengthening again through the top of the head. You should start to feel those arms working. And then slowly, you reverse the movement, melting the ribcage down, controlling with those arms. Again, perform 5 repetitions of those. Then from here, we're going to reach the arms down by the hips, and we're going to lift the arms and the chest. So you're going to roll the shoulders back and down, rotate the palms down to the ground, and then you're going to start to lift up, feel the back extensors kick in, and you're going to really feel the triceps as well here. Breathe in, and then exhale, reverse your movement. Another 5 repetitions there. And then you're going to bring the arms up to a W position, either side of the head. From here, because the arms are now coming up a little bit further away from the body, it starts becoming more work into the back. So here, make sure that you still roll the shoulders back and down. Abs are lifted. You lengthen through the top of the head, keeping the neck nice and long. And we're going to lift all the way up. And you should feel all the muscles between the shoulder blades kick in. Nothing in the upper traps here. You're really, really trying to draw those shoulders down and back. And then lower down. Another 5 repetitions there. Then you're going to go for a full arm circle. So you're going to lift up, abdominals are active, shoulders are drawn down and back. You're going to reach and lengthen the arms overhead, keeping the shoulders down. Then you're going to circle and you're going to try and find those lats, so underneath your armpits, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the arms all the way back by the hips. And we're going to perform 5 repetitions here as well. Lift and lower. Good. You should start to feel some heat in the back of the body. Finally, last modification is your swimming. So this is where we lift arms, chest, and legs off, and we're going to perform like a beating action. So from here, draw the shoulders back and down, activate your legs, so hamstrings and glutes, reach the arms away, and you'll float the arms and legs off. From here, we're going to lift the opposite arm and the opposite leg. You're going to breathe in for 4 beats, and then you're going to exhale for 4 beats, and you're going to perform 8 rounds of that. This will build the strength and endurance into the back of your body. So each day you can either add on, or on day 1 you can go through each exercise or each modification and then build up to more sets of the swimming. After you do that, you must always push back into a shell stretch to relieve the lower back and let it go. So your 5th and final exercise is everyone's favorite, the plank. I'm going to show you 5 different modifications that you can build up to, but the plank is amazing because it's a full body exercise, strengthening the arms, the abdominals, the back, and even the legs. So we're going to work off timing for the modifications. You're going to do 40 seconds of sort of each. Starting off with the knees staying down. Now, each one of these planks can be performed on the elbows if you have any sort of wrist issues. I'm going to show you on the hands though. So spread the fingers wide, hands go underneath the shoulders, and then you're going to just simply move the hips forward until you come into one long straight line. Now, from the top of the head all the way down to the knees should be one straight line. Here, you want the abdominals lifted in and up. That's how you build that abdominal endurance. And then also to strengthen the arms, you want to make sure that you're pushing the ground away so you're lifted and you're not sinking down here. And you're going to hold this for 40 seconds. Or if you can go for a minute, go for a minute. So 40 seconds to a minute. And you're going to perform 3 sets of those. Then modification number 2, you're going to do 40 seconds of stepping back to a plank, okay? So you start here, abs are lifted, and you're going to alternate stepping back to a plank, come down, back to a knee plank, and then switch legs each time. Here, maintaining that nice upper body stability and strength while you move the legs. Then, modification number 3 is a full plank on the toes. So here, spread the fingers wide, hands underneath the shoulders, step the legs back nice and strong, lift up through the abdominals. If you can, squeeze those inner thighs together, you get a nice adductor connection as well, lifting through the belly, lengthening through the top of the head. You have 40 seconds to a minute here. Perform that 3 times as well. Then finally, we start to lift the arms and the legs. So when we start lifting the arms and the legs, it just throws our center of gravity off. So one side of the body has to work harder. Here for 40 seconds, you're just gonna start reaching arm, leg, leg. Make sure you have stability with each limb that gets lifted. Then, finally, your last modification is opposite arm with opposite leg lift. So obviously it then does get harder as you take both an arm and a leg off at the same time. So here, find your perfect plank, make sure you're lifted, nice and long. This is really testing me as well. We're gonna lift the opposite arm and opposite leg and hold. We're gonna try and go for 10 seconds each side. Here we go. And then you're gonna do 3 sets of those and then take a rest and then perform that again for another 3 times. So that should build you up, full body exercise, full body strength and endurance. I hope you've enjoyed.